instead of it being 2nd and 7, it's 2nd and 3, and that makes it an easier conversion down. And so I think our guys understand that they got to do their 111, but what happens if I don't do it exactly right and fit it up and funnel it to where we want it to go? It's a game of math in my eyes. It's in leverage and violence at the point of attack. But where do we need to be? And I think that this week we've put a huge emphasis on that, especially how we performed against Oklahoma.
You know the SEC, obviously, and I'm curious from an SEC perspective, where does the Iron Bowl kind of stand, like in terms of rivalries?
I think just growing up, I was a huge college football fan growing up, and this was a game on this weekend that I always wanted to watch. Me and my dad, we'd sit there and watch that game. I think this is at the top to me, just because of what it means in the state, what it's always meant in this conference as well, and the implications that are always on the line at the end of the season, it being a conference opponent. And obviously the families and everything that's connected with this, and having been on both sides of it, I can tell you it is extremely important to everybody.
So how do you get that sense from players in the days leading up to a game like this?
A lot of these young men were, recruited by both schools. They've got friends at both schools, and obviously at the end of the year, what it means for everybody's season and any rivalry game, but especially this one. They understand the implications and the importance to them, and the pride that they have of playing any game, but also what this one means in state as well.
You got to be on the other side of it, obviously, two seasons ago when it was here.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to be like to be on the other sideline for this game? And is there anything you're maybe looking forward to that you didn't get to experience at Auburn?
I'm excited about the opportunity for our guys to go play. There's a lot of really good people over there that I spent a lot of days with, and so there's a lot of meaning with that. But they also know and in the job of what you're trying to go do on Saturday, and I'm excited to be in this environment. I think it's going to be a great environment. And our players are as well, and I think it's going to be a great spectacle of college football, and we obviously want to go and end up on the right side of it in the right way.
What was your experience just kind of with this game when you were at Auburn, just the build-up and everything like that?
Cadillac Williams was the head coach at that point, and so obviously at that point of the season, it was great to be around him and see just him lead the place that he played at. As a former college football player, that's obviously a point of pride for him. But there's obviously a lot of emotion around this game every year, because I know I recruited Quay Russaw when I was at Auburn, and James Smith, and so there's so much around this game in terms of just the relationships, not only the people on the field but the people off the field as well.
What have you seen from Auburn's running back so far?
Jarquez, Damani, Jeremiah. Those are guys that I recruited, all of them, and being not Jarquez, but just being on the team with him. And they're great people, but they're really good football players. I think this is the best backfield that we'll face all year. They do a great job of running downhill. They're very physical backs, and they make people miss. And the younger back, Jeremiah, he's done a good job. A lot of perimeter plays. They get him the ball, special teams, things like that. I believe this is the best group that we've faced all season, and those are, I knowing those kids personally, they're built that way, and I've vocalized that to our guys. These are great people, and they play the game the way it's supposed to be played. You've got to play to a certain level anytime you're playing someone like that.
What went into the decision to move Jabarian to Wolf, and just how do you think he played, and how did he respond to that move?
He's done a great job. I think a lot of times, and I think at some point during the fall camp, we talked about guys learn different positions. The good thing about our defense is a lot of it's conceptual learning. You understand a drop, you understand a gap responsibility, a pressure, and there's a lot of carryover. And I think that's why guys like Jihad or Quay, Q Robinson were able to move around, because you're teaching them the fundamentals of the scheme and what techniques to use. And Jermaine was using those same techniques at certain times for Coach Roach, and it was very easy. I think there was only a couple things he really had to teach him, and I was really surprised and encouraged of what he did. And I think it shows people that you can teach somebody something in our system, and they can go and do it and execute. And he did a great job on Saturday for us, and he's added depth to our room. Obviously some guys that losing Q Robinson and allowing us to have some depth because they understand the scheme. And so I'm really proud of him.
talked about your familiarity with some of those Auburn guys, Auburn running backs.
Yeah.
How much does that help you, or is that not that big of a deal?
To me, I think anytime you have an understanding of the opponent, who they are, how they tick, the type of things that you observed, I think it paints a clear picture, especially of what to expect when you recruited kids. You kind of know their demeanor. That can be something that you just educating guys. Talk about Jarquez. He's a great team leader over there. That guy works his tail off and everything. And just saying that this is somebody that's going to be a great opponent. I think it's just preparing them. It's not somebody that's going to, give away the game with their maybe antics at times. This is somebody that plays it the right way, and he was always that way when I was there. I think it's painting a picture of what you're about to face and making sure your mind is in the right place.
Last two for Coach.
Been on both sides of this, obviously, a lot of back and forth. We've seen some from the Auburn side this year. Just what's kind of your take on the, sort of the trash talk and maybe, how your side kind of tries to approach that and sort of staying locked in on what you're doing internally rather than, answering stuff about the other team?
Yeah, not to be cliche, but I think anytime there's a passionate game, it always ends up being about you and making it a focus of what do I have to do to improve. We have our own set of things that we did not like about how we performed, and so the work is really on us to be able to go execute. And so in those moments, I think we gravitate back to that and focus on that. And we got young kids that obviously they probably pay attention more to things than we do, but to refocus and say that these will be the real things that actually cause us to be successful.
You think emotion in a game like this can be an asset or detriment?
I think it can always be. It just depends on who's wielding that. Emotion in a player that understands that he's got to go do it. It can be a great thing. But we've talked to our guys all week about making the things that we really need to focus on, the main things. And I want them to play with emotion. This game, you have to play with emotion, and we got to wield it in the right way at the right time, and that's the plan.
All right, thanks, y'all.
Hey, thank you.